1,000 times, brother. But in the trial, Cassie had said something about D-Rock being head of Puff security after I had left. You understand? And that's when D-Rock had came home. You understand? They all moved out to California, the whole 9 yards. Now, D-Rock let Puff trick him. I don't believe that D-Rock was that sinister and knew what he was doing. I can't believe that he knew what he was doing and getting Big to that party. I knew that Puff may have promised him something. Puff may have promised D-Rock something to help him get Big to that party. Because for some reason, Big had to be at that party because Puff is the one who, and you'll see in Kirk Burroughs' papers, that Puff is the one who scratched out Big trip from going to London and then turned around and lied that Big didn't want to go to London, which was a bunch of crap. You understand what I'm saying? Because he asked Clark Kent to go to London with him. He asked Clark Kent to go to London with him. And Clark Kent was going to go to London with him, God bless the dead. You understand?
Hey, yo, peace to the gods, peace to the earth. This your man, the King of Truth. King Truth is Allah, coming on this knowledge equality day. Knowledge equality adds up to God or Allah in our supreme mathematics. So peace. Real quick, man, I'm tripping, man. I'm for Gene fishing, Gene Deal. I'm call him Gene Devious Deal. Right. Now, I ain't got no more business being in this bull stuff, you know what I mean? But it's like, oh man, I think Gene Deal a devious dude. You know, his latest spill, his latest content been, you know, one of Biggie's homeboys, D-Rock, right? And he talking about how it's coming to the light. D-Rock trying to set up Biggie the night he got shot back in 1997.
Miles away from home.
Mr. Wallace was in a Chevrolet Suburban when the unknown suspects drove alongside of it and fired multiple shots, striking Mr. Wallace.
Wallace was pronounced dead at a local hospital. News of his murder spread quickly across the country.
It was a shock throughout my neighborhood. I got calls from people. Personally, I was, just disgusted that such an artist had to go out like that.
It hurt because that's like a role model, and it hurt because he's from around the neighborhood and his raps is like good, and I mean he didn't deserve to die.
Sunday, the rap.
You know, Gene is blaming D-Rock for being instrumental in setting up Biggie, which was one of his closest and dearest friends. And I think Gene caught up, man, but he being devious. And it ain't funny. I mean, if you see, I think I said, I followed Gene from the beginning when, that was his main topic, explaining what happened to Biggie, right? That was his main, that was his main topic, right? And so, he ain't, and so, he's so, he going into some detail how, to me, it's like Gene got a little jealous, D-Rock, because he became, head of security for Combs, right? And Gene just a jealous-hearted person. I don't believe nothing Gene say in regards to D-Rock. You see what I'm saying? They saying Cassie took the stand and was explaining D-Rock was head of Sean Combs security and they was gonna try to get Suge. They supposed to, I don't know nothing about that. Don't know the reason, don't know why, right? But as far as Biggie is concerned, Gene do everything in his power to remove himself from that equation. When Gene, as he told the story 30 times over 2-3 years the same way, is basically responsible for Biggie death. Now, I don't want to put that on nobody, but I got a Spotify and I can't get in it right now. My passwords, so they done sold the company. The podcast people sold to I don't know who they sell to, Apple or somebody, or they what? Well, not the podcast company sold to Spotify, and they got a whole bunch of passwords, and I can't find password. I gotta call them to access my podcast. Now Hear This by King Truth. Now Hear This by King Truth. That's me. Peace. And so on one of them episodes, now it's still up. You can access it. I just can't put nothing new up there till I, break in and get my find my password. But and so one of those episodes, I got an episode, Gene Deal and Pussy Combs is negligent in Biggie's death or his shooting. They are negligent. He is negligent. And he goes into his defense of him being specifically exclusive to Sean Combs. And so whatever Sean Combs told him to do as far as get Biggie or get my mom or get that person, then that's what he would do. But he was explaining Sean Combs is his employer. Sean Combs pays him. Whether it be the record company pays Sean Combs for security, but Sean Combs pays Gene Deal, so he was not Biggie's bodyguard, and that's understandable. That's understood. He is not Biggie's bodyguard. But and so I feel compelled to jump in because I'll be talking about this. You know what I mean? And so Gene, Gene was the one that put the Fruit of Islam in there, as the shooter. But as time goes on, he steers away from that, and he try to tell you David Mack did it, and Rafael Perez, and Pooch, and some more people, and he know that's not true. So I just think Gene got a hard time talking about that, particular FOI involvement, right? But he does say numerous times that the Fruit of Islam done it. He is on a documentary pointing out FOI brothers. You see what I'm saying? He is on audio telling the police it was an FOI brother. Blue suit, white shirt, blue bow tie, peanut butter complexion, peanut shaped head, high cheekbones, deep set eyes, right? He is on audio, explaining. But, and so, he told the story, the backstory to the YouTube audience, but he never told the backstory to the police of, him and Sean Combs at the 97 Soul Train Awards. They say Biggie didn't go. In 97, Biggie on footage video at the 96. They say he didn't go to 97. I don't know. I'm just going by what they say. But Gene said him and Sean Combs was at the Soul Train Awards, and they was leaving or trying to go somewhere, and FOI, the Fruit of Islam, was paid to be security there. And so they was paid security for 97, 96, probably 95. So you know, that's what they do when they not doing NOI business. They outsource their men for security for events and celebrities. See, if you think about it, this is why Michael Jackson was with the Fruit of Islam when he was going to court. You know, he had to pay them. You see what I'm saying? So they was leaving, and Gene tell his story. FOI man said, y'all can't go this way. This way is blocked off, it's cordoned off. Y'all can't go this way. Gene said Pussy Comb got very irate. He got in that FOI man face, and they was about to fight. Gene said he didn't say come on, he didn't say puff, we can't. He didn't intervene. And Gene said that man got on the walkie-talkie and called for some assistance, and some assistant came, and it was the National Supreme Captain of the Fruit of Islam, so he backed this brother and said, y'all can't go this way. This way is sealed off. So Gene and Pussy Comb still had to turn around. Gene said that FOI brother that Sean Combs got in his face, Gene said that FOI brother looked like he wanted to smack the dicks out of Pussy Combs' mouth. And so, so, later on, 2 hours later, they at the Peterson. 3 hours later, they leaving the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, I think, and on Wilshire Boulevard. And so while they was at they was in the party, they was at the after party 2 hours later, and blue suit, white shirt, blue bow tie, peanut butter complexion, peanut-shaped head, high cheekbones, deep-set eyes, was looking at them for like 30 minutes straight. Just FOI man was standing there looking at them in the party, sitting down for 30 minutes straight. And so when they left, Gene said when they left, and he told the FBI and the LAPD did. This is on audio. If you go to the Biggie's dossier, it's DOSSIER, the dossier, and it's an interview documentary type thing. But Gene is being recorded. His statement to the police was recorded and is out there on the internet.
I had him to a T before P called me that morning. He said a guy in the Nation of Islam shot Big. And I said, yo dog, he had the blue suit, blue bow tie, white shirt, peanut head, receding hairline, brown skin. He was like, yeah dog, how you know? I said, a nigga came up to me first. I said, he came to us first. He walked up the Puff van, and I got him off. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, yeah, straight up, for real. He came up there first. I had him to a T before. This is the individual
That one.
This one right here.
That one.
Yeah, that's the one Lucy's did for the police. That's him right there.
That's him.
Yeah.
That's him.
That's the guy that came up to me.
That guy.
That guy right there.
That's him.
Yeah.
But you ever shown his picture before? That's definitely him, though.
Yep.
Wow. That's Harry Billups, isn't it?
That's who?
He's called Harry Billups. Amir Mohammed, right? That's his name.
This is the individual.
So, you know, he tell the police this, you know, and so Gene said when they was going to the leaving, you know, they had matching green Suburbans. Pussy Combs had one, Biggie and his entourage had one. And they was leaving, and Pussy Combs stood in the building, Big, and then was waiting in a Suburban. The FOI brother walk up to Gene's Suburban that he's standing outside of, and look in it. And then Gene said they shared an eye contact moment, and Gene said he pulled his gun out. Standing outside, he put his gun out looking at the FOI man. And he told the police this. So the police say, why you pull your gun out? Gene said it was just one of those nights. This all can be fact checked. It can be verified. He say it's just one of those nights. Right then and there, he should have told the FOI man, well, my employer, my protectee, got into a verbal altercation with them, and at the Soul Train Awards, and now one is here, different brother is here. He was looking at us for 30 minutes straight, and now he walked up to the car looking at it, and his energy was off, and I pulled my gun out. So Gene don't tell the police about the 97 Soul Train Awards verbal altercation between the Fruit of Islam and Pussy Combs, and he didn't intervene. Tell his protectee, his principal, to come on. So he didn't respect their authority as security either, right? So, right there, he was wrong for not, not corralling Pussy Combs. He should have corralled him and said, come on, Puff. That security said we can't go this way. We got to go another way. Or, he should have started backing off and say, Puff, I'm leaving because we can't go this way. Then, so, he was wrong there by not, getting control of his principal protectee. And when he put his gun out, see, the FOI man ain't putting no gun out. Gene's 6'8", 300 plus pounds. And the dude wasn't that big, and he had to pull a gun out. You see what I'm saying? So Gene kind of wrong for that. So when Pussy Combs come out and get in the vehicle, him and Big Suburban and they Suburban, they take off and they go to the flashing red light at the corner. Gene said he told his driver to run the light. And Big and them stopped at the light. Gene never revealed that they told Big why the FOI man was staring at him. Or, why, it's like this night. And so Big and them stopped at the flashing red light, and the dude, they say, and it's more people that was in Big Suburban say the FOI man shot the motherfucker up and shot Big.
Investigation that followed uncovered a truth that was so damning it could never see the light of day.
LAPD is exactly what.
On March 9th, 1997, Biggie Smalls was gunned down on a crowded street in Los Angeles.
Somebody got shot.
The investigation that followed uncovered a truth that was so damning it could never see the light of day.
LAPD is exactly what was going on, all the way to the very top.
Rogue LAPD.
You see what I'm saying? Now Gene saying D-Rock tried to get him to the party. You know what? That ain't true, because Gene say after 15 hours after Big landed back in California, he got shot. He say when Pussy Combs got up that morning, he was on the phone with Big trying to get him to come to California. See what I'm saying? So now he blaming D-Rock for lying to Big. Pussy Combs lying Big. And, you know, Pussy Combs probably feel guilty. So he, you know, looking out for D-Rock. But, you know, man, that's foul, because it's really Gene's fault for not corralling, for not getting a hold of Pussy Combs. And then he put his gun out, right? A sneeze from the, come on. Excuse me. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, man, Gene, that's foul that he's gonna say, you know, after some long deliberation, it looked like D-Rock. But one of Big's main man set him up, helped to set him up. You know what I'm saying? So that's just slow down. You know, I had to say something. Because I don't know if it's compelled for me to keep saying it's the fruit based on what Gene say. But you know, I don't think D-Rock lying Biggie, man. You know, if they was in New York, you know, it was Biggie's choice to bring everybody back out to California. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, man, that's just slow down, man. So, you know, man, just, you know, y'all need to ask Gene to talk about the FOI involvement again and what happened at the 97 Soul Train Awards that the National Supreme Captain had to also tell them they can't go this way. And ask Gene about the dude looking, the FOI brother looking like he was gonna smack the dicks out, Pussy Combs off, and ask him about, you know, him pulling a gun out on the FOI man walking up to the Suburban. Ask Gene that. Why don't y'all ask Gene about that? Or the dialogue, mighty aren't dialogue. Vlad TV, why don't y'all ask Gene something real quick? Y'all be up there, let him talk, be sleep. Y'all be sleep. So, you know, but yeah, man. So I don't think D-Rock is guilty of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think Gene and Pussy Combs negligent. You know, Gene put his gun out, and dude was unarmed at the time. One can assume. See what I'm saying? But my thing is, you know, why Biggie, if he wasn't at the 97 Soul Train, what'd he do? See, that ain't right. You see what I'm saying? See, now I got a problem, because they shooting people based on misinformation. And that's a little personal to me. You see what I'm saying? That's ridiculous. See what I'm saying? So, you know, man, that's all I'm saying. I'm out. Peace.